Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations, and we're kind of in a different frame here just because I want to show you this. Don't know which way to point. This door. So quite large. I was gifted it for free and we're gonna make over the door. So here's the first things that I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna get the glass. Here's the glass. I'm gonna get rid of the glass. So I have to take that out. I need to give everything a really good scrub. And then I need to make some decisions about paint. But that's the first order of business, is doing that. We're gonna fill all that glass area up. I just don't want the glass. So we're gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get it all washed because it's pretty grimy and dirty. And then we'll get started on the makeover part, which is gonna be fun. Okay, this is all sanded and ready to go. I'm gonna be adding a shelf, so over there. That shelf is gonna be added in. And I've got a couple of legs over here on the side. You can see one of them there that also need to get painted because they're going to help hold the shelf up. It's more like a tabletop. So you can see this is solid wood, which is perfect because I'm going to be nailing a bunch of stuff into it. So it makes my life a lot easier. But we're going to play a little bit. I'm using up paint that's on the shelf. So I have a cottage color from DIY, which is the all-in-one paint in Haint Blue. So I'm using that up because there's no point in opening a different blue if I have a blue open. And I'm going to be using Casement, which is a white, by Fusion. Both are all-in-one paints because my vision of this, somebody could use it indoors if they want to, but I envision it being used outdoors. So I would like an all-in-one paint that's going to be able to withstand some of the weather. What I am going to try, I was thinking, so let me share my thought process with you. I was originally thinking that I was going to paint the whole thing blue, and then I was going to do some white dry brushing. And then I thought, okay, you've probably seen me do that. And I'm going to be doing some dry brushing on the filler for the big hole here, right? So I decided that we're going to do a little bit of on-the-piece blending. Now, if you've watched me for a while, you've seen me blend the clay paints because they blend beautifully. All-in-one paints, not so much, because they have the built-in sealer. As soon as they start to dry, they're sealing up and you can't move that paint around. So we are going to play a little bit with these paints because it doesn't mean you can't blend them. It does mean there's a timing issue and there's a lot of water involved. So I thought, let's just do that. Let's just play with that on this piece. Give you an idea down on this lower section because it's way too hard way up there. So I'm going to pull you in overhead so you can kind of watch me as I go on this piece. And if it hasn't been something that you tried, then you at least get to see it in action. Okay, so first things first, I want to get some of this blue down. Now, I'm hoping that you can kind of see. This is just a nice soft blue, just a really nice kind of color, curated by Jamie Ray. I have a few of these left in stock, but I'm not carrying the full line of these just because I have the full line of Fusion and it just seems redundant carrying two different brands of all-in-one. But I still have some of this and I have it open. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of use what you've got. So I'm using what I got. So what I want to do is get some of this blue on first. I need to get it on fairly quickly. So you're kind of seeing me moving here, but it's not a problem if I end up with more blue on here because I can just use the extra coats. Not a problem. But you can see lovely color, lovely coverage. Okay, now I want to keep this kind of wet because I want to get some of my white happening in there. So I'm going to take my white brush and I'm going to just put a whack of it in there. So you can see I'm not doing it perfectly exacting, and I'm going to just kind of drag it here and there in some areas, and then just kind of wet it quickly again, and then I'm going to just kind of blend it a bit onto the piece. So I'm going to get, you know, some streaking. I'm going to get it lightening up my blue in some areas, but more than anything else, what's going to happen is I'm going to have it extending some of my paint because of the water, but I'm also going to just have it not be one total uniform look, but I'm not going to have all of the harsh drag lines that I would have if I was doing the dry brushing. So I get it's maybe a little bit difficult to see because of them not being two colors that contrast a lot, but the action of it, right? Kind of the methodology, that's a good word. So the methodology of this is exactly what you would use if you were looking at blending a couple of all-in-one colors together on your piece. Is you're going to be using some water if needed to be able to add those highlights, because I'm not looking at doing this perfectly, right? I'm not looking at fitting the white just perfectly in those crevices or anything. I'm just getting this painted. It's for outdoors. And we're just having fun with it. Okay. While everything else is drying, we still need to do some more painting. What I do have here are 16 cut pallet boards that are the width that I need across, and I'm pointing at the door, you can't see it, but the hole in the door where I had the glass and I took the glass out needs to be backed. We need to fill in that gap. So we're going to fill it in with pallet wood. This is unsanded, so I have not sanded it yet. It's all rough. And in fact, some of it's kind of cracked. And that's okay. For our purposes, that's okay. I want kind of that rough look. What I do have is I have the same white, so Casement by Fusion. I have Haint Blue from the JRV DIY line, and I have the Vintage Mint. And again, I'm using these colors simply because they are open on my shelf. So I would have no problem using all DIY colors. I'd have no problem using all Fusion colors. I would have no problem using any all-in-one colors that you happen to have. So just sometimes people are going, I can't get that particular color. Get whatever colors work for you. I just want very pale colors because, and you're gonna see why. And what I want to do is I don't want to paint these. I just want to dry brush these. So I want to get some color. Oh my goodness, so noisy around here. I want to get some color on here, but I don't have tons of paint. And because my boards aren't sanded, they are rough. I'm not going to paint the ends because the ends are going to be behind the door. I am going to paint the two edges just because as much as I'm going to be kind of nailing them tight together, I think that you kind of see some of that through the cracks. So all I'm going to do is get these painted out and just you know, I can still get a fair bit of paint on, but you know what? I've got rough edges and it's not going down in the lows, and I am perfectly okay with that. So I'm just doing a rough paint on them and putting them off to the side to dry, because we still have more that we're going to do with these, and I ultimately am going to sand them a bit at one stage. So major rough elements will be taken care of, but not all of it. The next piece of what I'm looking at is I want to take just a floral napkin. So any one, any color, any look. And I have to separate out the plies. This is always the hardest part for me, especially for ones like this that have those crimped edges. So this is a 3-ply. And I'm trying to work from the front, because if I can just separate out the front piece, then I just have to pull that apart. But sometimes I have to pull off a corner to make it happen. But what we're looking at doing is separating out these plies. So you have to determine if you've got a 1-ply or 2-ply. So that's the back 1-ply. I didn't get the front, so I still have to separate out. There we go. There goes the second one. So you just kind of tease them apart. And then what I want to do is cut out the flowers in different patterns and groupings and sizes and all that kind of fun stuff. Because ultimately we're going to be decoupaging these on each of the wood boards. And I don't want it to look, you know, planned and regimented. So I want different flowers, different groupings, different sizes. And we're going to do these flowers on all 3 colors and to varying degrees. We're not covering the whole board. Right? So we're just going to do it in sections. So let me just jump ahead and show you that part. I've moved up here to do this part because it's just going to be easier on me. So take the decoupage medium of your choice. I have Mod Podge, not because I think it's the only thing that I could use, but because I still have half a container. So I'm just looking to use it up. So what I am looking at doing is just kind of laying out roughly where I might want some flowers and laying down my medium. Now I'm using a ratty old chip brush because this is an uneven surface and I need to be able to work some of that medium down into those grooves. And I can get it places that, you know, I don't need it, meaning I can over cover, because I'm still going to be sanding this. And so I don't mind if I get wrinkles or I'm working it down into the grooves. So for this one, I may just do those 2. And I want to have ultimately my florals in different spots on different colors. You could lay out all your boards in a row so that you know which boards go where, you know? So I've got 16 boards, so work from top to bottom, and then that way I could plan out my florals. And I'm telling you that because that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'll just work around this particular board that I just grabbed. But we're just going to add some soft florals on each of them here and there. I've got a lot more cutting of flowers to do. So I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it gives you an idea. Just so that I know that you know what I was talking about. I've got my 3 boards here. So I've got this is going to be the top board. This is the number 2. I have labeled them all. This is the top of the board and number 2, and I'll do top of the board number 3 and then top 4, just so that when I go to actually nail them in place, I do them in the correct order. So for this, what I'm doing is I want to decoupage them in such a way that I don't have the exact flower right on top of the exact flower. I don't have them in exactly the same place. So this way I can kind of see what I'm doing. And what I'll do is I'll do all 3 of these, then I'll leave this one, I'll go back and get the next white one and green one. So I'll always have 3, and I'll always have the last one done, still hanging out here. So the next 3 are gonna work in conjunction with that. So you can see, I'm building it like this, so I don't have all the flowers stacked all in the same spot. Here's all my boards decoupaged. They are laid out, they are drying, and they are in order. So you can see that the flowers kind of drift all over. Next steps. Once this is dry, I am going to give them a quick light sand, just to take off a little bit of roughness on the boards, create a little bit more wear on them. And then I'm going to seal them. So I'm just going to use a clear polyacrylic outdoor sealer. I just get it from Home Depot. So it's just, you know, somebody could use this inside their home, but I might as well have it ready for somebody that wants to use it outside, maybe as a potting table or something. So tomorrow morning, I am going to come in and I'm just going to start at the top of my door and I'm going to nail them in place. Because my door is wooden, I can just nail them in and it'll be okay. You could screw them in. And then I am just going to nail through the top of my tabletop down into the legs, and then nail from the back of the door into the tabletop so that I have everything anchored in place when you next see the door, because you don't have to be here for the nailing. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Start with one at the top, work your way down. And then we'll reconvene. Then we'll reconvene and see what we're going to do. I'm thinking, you know what, it'd be nice to add hooks and knobs and that kind of thing, but part of me also is thinking it might be nice to leave that for whomever that purchases it to decide what they want to do. Okay, gang, this is our finished door. Now, let me tell you about a couple of things. We put small metal L-shaped brackets under here to be able to provide more support. I mean, obviously these are screwed in from the top, they're countersunk. I then put some wood fill in and touched up. I ended up taking the doorknob off, so I actually have to go back and do a little paint touch up under there, just because it was in the way of these boards. I had debated putting knobs up across the top, but I've decided to leave it because I really see this piece as being multifunctional, meaning I've done it in all-in-one paints. It could go outside. Now, are the all-in-one paints going to last forever? No. But because this is very rustic, as any of this would kind of chip and things, it just adds to the look, right? It just has that kind of rustic look and feel to it, in which case I think it'd be fine. So depending upon how people choose to use it outdoors, if that's what they choose to do, I mean, you could just simply put a bunch of plants on it and use it decoratively. You could hang some knobs, use it as a potting table, and maybe a basket or two, and put all of your, you know, your gardening gloves and your work tools and things like that. Have some pots on here. That would be very cute. I think it would be cute in the backyard, you know, just as an extra serving station maybe. You know, if you entertain in the backyard a lot, then certainly here's all your chips and dip or your little hors d'oeuvres. I would put maybe some little flat shelves across there, and you've got extra cutlery and, you know, sunscreens. I mean, whatever you want to do there. I think that you could use it indoors. It's a little rustic in terms of its finish to maybe be used in a front foyer. Depends upon your house and your decor, of course, but this would be super cute in a mudroom, right? You could have a couple of baskets down on the bottom. You could have some hooks to be able to hang a couple of dishes for tossing keys and those kinds of things. So I think it's got multiple uses. If you have a large kitchen, I think this would be super cute with putting some shelving up on there and having all kinds of dishware, or creating a coffee station with this. So I decided that I'm not going to determine how people are going to use it. I'm going to leave it for them and leave it much more flexible, but we've got the ability to be able to kind of switch it out in terms of how it's used. I love how the back turned out. I love having the different colors. I mean, you could have gone just, you know, whitewashed. You could have, you know, just done it much plainer, but for me, it just makes it super cute and kind of perks it up a little bit. Let me know what you think of this one, guys. Let me know if you've been gifted with a little summer kind of door like this, where you would have gone with it. Did you see this coming? I thought of this the second I saw it. But so many things that you could do. Old doors are beauty. Don't let them slip away. So many things you could do. Thanks for joining me on this one. Hope to see you on the next. And until then, take care.